Zorak does have those explosive knockout Greninjas left and right, but if your opponent can actually get set up, get that turn 2 water duplicates, get the Greninja in play, and then just start shadow stitching your opponent. That's really the main goal for Andrew here, and I think the names are switched again.
Oh, my apologies. The names are the wrong way around. It's actually 100% my fault in this one. Just a little bit of an error. Actually, no, I'm going to blame the players for sitting the wrong way around. That's how we do it nowadays. Anyway, as you can tell which side the decks are on, of course, the Zoruas are only on one side, and will make life a little bit easier there when we do see the lone Froakie over on the other side.
Yeah, so you know exactly what you're playing against. And like I was saying before, shadow stitching is the name of the game for Andrew in this matchup. Being able to shut off the trade abilities from your opponent means that you really can control the tempo of the game. Like just a simple shadow stitching with a choice band, 70 damage, then your opponent like, well, I can't really get set up. I'm just gonna like pass or maybe just riot beating for like 100 damage, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just bring up another Greninja, shadow stitching again. Then you get the breaks involved, giant water everywhere. It gets really complicated, board state at least.
Yeah, I mean the shadow stitching is going to be really, really important. We saw a kind of, I don't want to say a failed lock before, but
yeah,
certainly not 100% of what you wanted.
And the Greninja deck does have a lot of utility against a deck like Zoroark. You can play a deck in this tournament if you're like, I think my deck's not as good against Zoroark. You're playing your deck in the tournament because you're like, I think I can beat Zoroark a lot of the time.
Yeah, you have to be comfortable in that matchup, as you talked about a little bit earlier. You know, 10 of the top decks, when you write out, what am I going to see? You literally write Zoroark.
Yeah.
It's like you're writing lines at school. Is that a punishment in American school?
Yeah, it used to be, I guess.
On chalkboards?
Now it's just rulers.
Times has changed. Times has changed at school.
So we saw just a clean Bridget off of the Tapu Lele, getting a couple Zora and a Sudowoodo from Isaiah, and that means he's going to be off to the races next turn. Meanwhile, Andrew's turn 1 isn't really going to be that exciting.
It's really not. When you lead Froakie, you get another Froakie. It's not all that thrilling, really, as games go.
Yeah, so usually they're not that exciting. We even see just like, okay, I'll get another Froakie and then pass.
Oh boy, just you wait till turn 2 though, when that water duplicates comes around.
But we do see him Ultra Ball for the Tapu Lele, getting a Lily card that is really only good on turn 1, being able to draw a full 8 cards.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally fine to play at turn 1, but after that it's really underwhelming, and I'd rather just use Cynthia.
Yeah, exactly. And you do run the risk of drawing into multiple Frogadier, but sometimes decks try to play around that, maybe even Pokemon Communication now. But you really need to get set up because Greninja doesn't do anything for the first few turns.
Yeah, it doesn't. But, you know, turn 2 is going to be huge. In the same vein, though, Isaiah's turn 2 looks like it could be pretty good for him. Managed to get a Colress down after his bench is getting pretty thick already.
Yeah, so he's missing any Zoroark, but once you start getting one, it's usually not that far behind to get a couple more out.
No, being able to play this Colress and grab all of these potential Zoroarks. That's why I think when you're playing turn 2 in a Zoroark deck, you don't have one in hand. Every new card you draw is a potential Zoroark, which then turns into 2 new cards.
It's a good way to think about it.
Yeah, it's an optimist's approach to this one.
All right, and there's an execute too. So Ultra Ball getting the first Zoroark GX in play, and we will now start to see some trading going on from Isaiah, putting the trading back in trading card game.
Yeah, well, he's got the execute as well to propagate into the hand, and he lifts it up, puts it right back down in the discard. Doesn't even actually reach his hand.
Now he does because he has an Ultra Ball. And another execute.
Oh, here we go.
This is where things start to get disgusting.
Yep. I mean, things... If you wanted to get all the trades down, life finds a way to get you there.
Was that another Ultra Ball?
Yes, it was. And he used the same 2 execute for the Ultra Ball. and he's played another Zoroark. And I think I know how he's going to get that trade into play.
This is a pretty good turn 2 from Isaiah here. He is basically, even if he didn't create the Zoroark version with 4 executes, he's definitely the one that made it popular. He popularized it by getting 2nd place at Dallas Regionals.
Oh, yeah.
Basically just putting on a clinic for how this deck functions. And he started out 5-0 here today. And it's really, he's not looking like he's slowing down at all.
No, he looks to be setting up pretty consistently on turn 2. We talked about the potential turn 2 from Greninja.
And we even see the red card.
Oh.
Just punishing that Lily play turn 1 from Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, after he Lilied, he didn't actually play any of the other cards down. So he had all 8 potential Frogadiers, and now he's got every card is the potential card you need if you believe in yourself.
He could potentially just draw 4 energy right now.
He could. You have to wonder.
Oh, he's slow rolling it too, not even looking at him.
Oh,
but no, Isaiah did not have the double colorless.
No damage. But I mean, in the same vein, we saw the splash energy attached to this Froakie. We see
he does have an Ultra Ball in hand.
There is the Ultra Ball, but then he's only got the 4 cards in hand, so he's giving up pretty much everything to go all in to get Frogadier to water duplicates.
That'll be fun though. We see actually a random receiver in Andrew's hand as well. He might be looking to discard it, depending on what he actually has. So I think he has like an N in his hand as well.
Yeah.
Opting to discard the random receiver instead of playing the random receiver, hope to get a better supporter, and then play it. But I'm actually surprised to see the N from here because it could punish him a lot if he draws any Frogadier.
Yeah.
Using that water duplicate is really how you have this deck function. How it's already a slower deck, but you cheat the Frogadier in play with water duplicates, and it just makes it an easier step to get multiple Greninja set up. Because then the end point of the game is let's get a bunch of Greninja break and play.
He can get away with 1 Frogadier because he has that Froakie from turn 1. There's a lot of blue. There's a lot of blue. It's
one. Is there 2?
Could be. We see 1 come down. There is another one in the hand. I'm pretty sure that's a Frogadier. He's going to water duplicates. There's the first one. And just for clarity, as he takes a look in the rest of the deck.
Okay, it's a Greninja.
Oh, okay. So the other one
He's still fine. He's still fine.
Oof. Close. Didn't get a full
That could have been terrible for Andrew.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the end of turn 2, and he's still kind of behind the pace a little bit when you look at...
He might be behind the pace a little bit, but in reality, Isaiah's the one behind. He didn't get that double colorless turn 2 to take the knockout. So you still have that splash energy on your Frogadier.
Yeah, I mean, the splash energy is going to help as well to obviously pull that all back.
And to be fair, Isaiah is drawing at least 6 brand new cards this turn. But if he doesn't find a double colorless, we could see maybe another N Shadow Stitching play from Andrew here.
N feels really worthless against the Execute deck unless you have something to follow it up, and usually people kind of limit their hand and then play, you know, something to stop any further. You could Roadblock.
Yeah.
Or what is it?
The Escaper?
No, the Executor.
Oh,
not
Blockade.
Roadblock. Blockade, that's it. Blockade and Roadblock.
Roadblock is from Sudowoodo, which I actually have to point out. Andrew drawing the 1 Frogadier actually worked out perfectly for him because Sudowoodo limits his venture to 4, and with the Tapu Lele there, he wouldn't be able to get all 3 with water duplicates. So drawing just 1 Frogadier made his hand perfect for against Sudowoodo.
Right, that actually worked out so nicely, and we know that he does have Greninja in hand, so he should be able to...
Well, it might not even be Greninja now. It might be like a Remoraid or a Staryu, just because he can't bench another Pokemon.
Yeah, he probably wants it to be Greninja pretty badly overall. We do see the computer search with the 2 Executes. Again, no real danger there. He's going to grab a Battle Compressor with it. And we see another egg go in there, or another bundle of eggs. And Isaiah just keeping on going. I mean, he's got double colorless in play now, so he can start picking up knockouts, which is going to be absolutely huge for him. Just keeping on with that decision on the Battle Compressor. Wants to make sure he doesn't throw away anything that he can't reliably get back. We do see
Yeah, we see Getsus hitting the discard. And I think the 4th execute?
Yeah, the execute being pretty key in there. I think with the Getsus in play, that'd be quite nice. Knowing that Andrew's trying to keep these big hands with early ends, try and punish that a little bit.
Yeah, it's actually Greninja is kind of a deck that no one really prepares for, but it's a deck that gets hit with a lot of the counters for other decks.
Yeah.
So it struggles against Hexmaniac a lot.
Obviously.
It struggles against Sudowoodo, just because things like this, where you don't get the best turn 1, you have to Lele for a supporter, then you fill your bench up a little bit more than you need to. So no one's really teching for Greninja, but it still gets hit by these random techs for other decks.
Yep. We're going to see Skyfield. I do wonder, is Skyfield needed for the damage? Probably not.
It is.
In the long run, yes. Right now, no.
Right now, no, but Zoroark caps at 120 against a non-GX EX Pokemon without Skyfield. And with Greninja having 130, you really need to hit those numbers.
Well,
that's also why Andrew needs to find Brooklet Hill as well. Try to bump these Skyfields, turn off your abilities, and then hope that you can't get a 6th Pokemon in play.
Well, his time finding Brooklet Hill is going to be a little bit harder now with another red card after the double puzzle of time from Isaiah there. So keeping Andrew's hand small. And Andrew doesn't have the option to just draw 6 new cards a turn.
Yeah, that's just insane to think about.
Yeah. Oh no, what a shame. You can't draw 6. You must be so
and here's the Getsus. And wow, it hits the Ultra Ball. Ooh. So now there's just a Greninja and 2 water energies. And that's not what Andrew wants to see. So it could be good if he has maybe he just really needs to top deck something. Something as small as a Brooklet Hill could save him maybe a turn, but he really needs maybe an N, or Ace Trainer is a card that we don't really see much except for in these Greninja decks. Yeah, that could be a big one.
It's something he's definitely going to need to... he's going to need something off the top of that deck to get him back in, really. And we know that red card gets this is so good, because when you pull out a valuable item off the 4, like the Ultra Ball, you're just not able to play it. Obviously, yes, he committed a double puzzle of time to get there, but, you know, still... something important to him. We do see the top card. There it is.
N off the top.
That's juicy. We like those.
And I just want to point out an unfair interaction of Sudowoodo's Roadblock with Skyfield. Just being like, all right, I can have 8 bench.
4.
Yeah, you can stay at 4.
Yeah. It's so limiting as well. That's another reason the Brooklet Hill really needs to come out for Andrew here. Probably hoping to find it off this N. He does have the slight advantage. He gets the N for 6. While Isaiah only the 5, which is going to turn into
11.
Yeah.
12 with the card for turn.
Yeah, great.
Or no, he's going to Shadow Stitch. Ooh, be good.
Yeah, I mean, if he can find his way out of that one, should be in good shape, but...
Unfortunately, he did not get the splash energy down on the Greninja, but there is the Brooklet Hill. And he has another Greninja play, so that's one of the big things about this Greninja deck, and why it has so many consistency issues, is, alright, I got this water duplicates off, well now I need multiple Greninja because it doesn't have that much HP. So it's going to get knocked out. So I need multiple so I can actually evolve into the break the turn next.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, it's pretty much like, can you keep the Pokemon coming?
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll water duplicates, you'll have all these lovely Frogadiers there, and you just won't be able to find them. But I mean, other times, you'll go try and get the Greninjas out, and they'll fall right into your lap in front of you. It'd be pretty easy to find them, when that's the way the game's going. So, you know, it really depends on what happens after the water duplicates.
Yeah. So we saw the Shadow Stitching for 70 damage thanks to Choice Band coming down from Greninja. And it kind of puts Isaiah in kind of a stronghold. Like, I need to get Skyfield in play and a Pokemon. It can't be just propagation and egg back from the discard. He needs an actual Pokemon in his hand.
Right. As well, I mean, he's got one of the eggs committed to the bench now.
We could see Executor, man.
I mean, it's certainly an option. Won't be able to power it up too much, but
I was talking with him a little bit before this, and he was like, yeah, dude, when you go blockade Hexmaniac, it's powerful.
I mean, it's an option. It's going to be hitting for weakness. We're gonna see.
Drew 9 cards. Does he have it? He's kind of slowed down play. It doesn't look like he actually has it for this turn.
No, I mean, double colorless is going down.
Okay, so he does have the knockout with the Zork, but he has to manually retreat the active GX.
Give up on those double colorless energies.
And there is the Mind Jack for the knockout. 130 damage exactly.
Pretty wise play. The Brooklet Hill, once again, from Andrew, being able to capitalize off that. It's always a bit of a risk playing Brooklet Hill, because sometimes you'll use it a lot, but other times your opponent can use it.
Yeah, it really depends on the matchup.
I really enjoy when your opponent uses it to look through their deck at their leisure.
Yeah.
Because you have no way of knowing what's in there. I'm like, well, I just gave you a free peep at your deck every turn.
Yeah, basically. I was talking with Michael Pranwa earlier in the round. He's playing that Buzzwole deck, and he had nothing. His opponent played down Brooklet Hill, and then all of a sudden he had everything, because his hand was just like max elixirs and things like that he couldn't play without a bench.
Right. I mean, it's so nice to have your opponent give you a helping hand, whereas stadiums like Parallel City are there to punish you. This one actually kind of helps a little bit.
Yeah, all right, this is very important. Does he have the break? He does. Dive Ball will get Greninja break, meaning this Greninja is not being threatened to get knocked out by this Mind Jack Zoroark.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, he can also Giant Water Shuriken and start getting damage down, which is what he definitely needs to do in the next couple of turns. There is absolutely only damage down on that Zoroark, so he can start kind of trying to weave in around that. And like you say, the buff to its health, being able to.
And there's an enhanced hammer, discarding the double colors to the active. And here Andrew goes. This is what he needs to do. 60 damage on the Zoroark GX on the bench that was fresh. 40 damage to the active with Shadow Stitching. And one card we haven't really talked about that's great in this matchup for Andrew is that Espeon EX. Being able to de-evolve your entire opponent's field.
Well, there's so many things as well that the basic is 60 health.
Yeah.
So you Giant Water Shuriken and de-evolve it. It's really simple. I mean, the best thing about a lot of people is being able to get that into play is that's multiple prizes a turn, especially with some of these new GXs that are based off a pretty weak basic.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a card like Gardevoir GX, for example, Zoroark GX. Golisopod kind of escapes it a little bit, having 70 HP for the Wimpod, but...
I mean, I think you've got bigger issues to worry about if you're playing Golisopod deck with your Greninja break. I mean, yeah, you'll just get knocked out by every first impression.
I guess.
Assuming they switch in, obviously, and they don't hit you with the Weakling 21. So
this is what this Zoroark deck really tries to do when your opponent Hex Maniacs you, when they Shadow Stitching you, is... Alright, I can't use my abilities, so I can't draw 6 cards a turn for free. But I can still Colress for like 9-10 cards.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing stopping the big Colress from being played, so...
But again, I don't think Isaiah has the Skyfield to get his bench going.
And I mean, he needs it even more now the Greninja breaks up to 170.
Yeah, and there's the third double colorless that from Isaiah onto that Mind Jack Zoroark.
He's going all in for it. I mean, really wanting to...
Alright, Mind Jack, 130 damage.
Yep.
And now Andrew... Unfortunately, he did not get another Greninja into play last turn. So this is really his only break.
Yeah, it's going to be his only break for at least... I mean, this turn, and he needs to hit one on the next turn. He just needs to find them. See if he can get them out. That's always the problem. He needs to maybe try and find a way to get one of the Frogadiers back, get that on the Froakie, and just keep that streaming. We know that people, it only really works when you've got it all the way up to Greninja break. So have a look around and see if you can find one in there, Andrew.
Oh, there it is. Greninja coming down onto the bench Frogadier. Now the question is, does he have enough water energy to actually do a bunch of stuff? So Shadow Shuriken, or Giant Water Shuriken on the Zoroark GX on the bench, attached to the fresh Greninja. And here we see another Shadow Stitching, but this play kind of just gives up a free Greninja to Isaiah.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see him leave that one in the active. Probably wants to try and keep the break around so we can at least get another giant water shuriken in. Maybe try and soften up the board as much as possible for the big play. Bring the Espeon in and just go for it. I mean, if you look across the board, all of the GXs, the Zoroarks, have enough on there. The Mind Jack one is obviously sitting low.
80, yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, maybe that's his play here. Maybe he feels like he's going to guarantee a way to get that out. And then he'll be able to win it that way.
And there's the Espeon EX off the top of the deck.
Ooh, into the Cynthia.
And there Isaiah is just conceding the game. He's like, yeah, I can't beat that card. Not even waiting to see if he draws the energy off of the Cynthia.
He's about to lose all his Zorua. Technically, the prize pool goes to Zorua. So, I mean, really, really unfortunate play there. Just having to work around it.
Yeah, so there, Andrew takes game 1 with a big Espeon EX play, and it seems we have lost our camera, but don't be afraid, they're still setting up for game 2. Yeah, this whole tournament's been interesting to see, just the way the format's evolved from Dallas to now. Zoroark has just been continuing to dominate. Looking at the top tables, it is all this Zoroark variant, and they are kind of a mix between Isaiah's list from Dallas and Riley's list as well. There's a few of them playing with the Muck, but also playing a high count of eggs as well, and you kind of just have a catch-all for everything. And, oh, there we go. It looks like our camera is back. But,
yep.
Yeah, so
we get to watch the thrilling setup, watch them pile shuffle, go nuts in the comment section, tell me that pile shuffling isn't real shuffling!
But yeah, so I was saying before,
sorry about that.
While you were trying to fix
stuff with pile shuffling. I mean, it's not real.
I only pile shuffle to count my cards.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do 6 piles of 10, and you know you've got 60. You know that the Greninja break isn't under your leg at that point.
Yeah.
You can just double check that fact for yourself. But at the same time, it's not a sufficient randomization.
Yeah, not at all.
Mash, riffle, and bridge, children.
You don't need a bridge. That kind of ruins cards, but
that's why you
just
use
riffle.
The cheap Lele's.
The hyper rare ones, right?
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. They're my favorites too. When you see in somebody's deck, you just give it a good hard thumbing. Get the corners nice and curled. Maybe mark a sleeve on the way out.
While you're trying to figure out the camera, I was talking about how this Zoroark variant kind of has shaped the meta from Dallas, and how it's been a mix of Riley and Isaiah's kind of list. Red Card has been everywhere now, and he's one of the people who really helped popularize this Zoroark meta.
Yep. I mean, there's the Zorua start against the 2 Froakies, so pretty much the same as we saw before.
Yeah, and the Bridget in hand.
There we go. Watch him get 3 Zoruas right here.
I think he's going to go for that Sudowoodo as well, just because it does help mitigate your opponent from getting the absolute, perfect setup.
Well, it punishes him for playing Lele to set up, so he has to kind of hope that he's got the Bridget in hand himself.
You don't need 3 Zoroark in play, because as we saw last game, it was kind of useless when Shadow Stitching hit the field.
Oh, it wasn't that it was useless, it gave up all the prizes.
Yeah.
It came back to haunt him. I actually love the Espeon EX in here. I think it's such a good play.
It's been a card that since it came back into the fray with I think Internationals last year is when it first started seeing play again. Just the fact that you can, all my opponents are playing evolution decks. I don't need to knock out their 240 HP Decidueye EXs. I could just knock out their 60 HP Rowlet.
Yeah, it punishes you for playing Rare Candy, which is one of the best cards available for evolution decks, so you kind of have to be careful and start manually evolving, and that's no fun.
We actually see him bench an egg as well, just because we see a Colress, and I think, did we just see a pass from Andrew for his turn? I think that's what we saw, because the Bridget came down.
He's taking his time. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I don't like eggs on the bench.
But he plays the Executor.
Yeah, but nobody's brave enough to bring it. Somebody man up. Play the Executor. Don't tell me it's in your list and not bring it.
Yeah, it's like Executor seems like one of those cards where, okay, blockade can be good, but I'd rather just knock you out with Zora.
I'd rather just hit you. Oh.
Oh, and there we see the paralyzing gaze. He did not hit the Zoroark off that Colress for 5. Now it's back to Andrew to see out of the 4 cards from red card if he has it.
It's the brave little Froakie that could.
Oh, he actually did hit heads. All right.
Yeah.
Cynthia needs a Frogadier.
He really needs a Frogadier right now.
Usually we see the Greninja deck, the one using paralysis to stall for time.
The infamous bubble.
Yeah.
It's back.
But there's a reason why these Zoruas are $7 a piece.
Hey, go stuck up if you don't have them.
I don't have them. They're too rich for my blood.
Using any old Zorua from any old set.
Yeah, I'm using the new one because that's what came with my Zoroarks.
The one in the box.
Yeah.
At least you get
Ram for 20. I don't even have lunch.
I think I have 2 paralyzing gaze and 2 Ram.
You have more than me. Like, wow, there's the. Okay, this has been an amazing Cynthia. Enhanced Hammer, discarding the double colors off the Zorua. Frogadier evolving, and then what I think the perfect supporter in this matchup is that Ace Trainer right off the top with Random Receiver.
I don't know if I'm more entertained by the fact I saw Random Receiver get played, or the fact it gave him an Ace Trainer.
So now here's the big question. How many Frogadier are prized? As of right now, it looks like 2. No, okay. They're all on the deck.
Yeah, they're all nicely tucked away. We do see the classic Ultra Ball with an Execute, and finally we're going to see the Zoroark GX in play. So Isaiah, as we saw last time though, early part of the game, he had a ton of time for his trading.
Yeah.
And he's got to make sure he's capitalizing on it now. I think Andrew did a really good job of playing the ends to kind of limit that a little bit, and he probably needs to do that again.
So this is the hard part for Isaiah, because right now he's down a double colorless. If he chooses to commit another one, which he does, he takes the knockout. But if he takes the knockout, Andrew's next turn is going to be Greninja, Energy, Ace Trainer U, Shadow Stitching.
Yep.
How do you come back from that?
Just got to believe in yourself.
Believe in the heart of the cards and draw the perfect 3 cards.
Pretty much, yeah. That's basically your only option is hope and hope for the best.
So I think we see a Versiger for the Colress right here.
Yeah, big old hand. It's got to be a Colress.
Second Zoroark coming down.
He's got another easy egg to throw in there and trade. It's his first one of the turn.
Second trade as well.
Discarding the Bridget there. Doesn't need it anymore.
Yeah, you would think like, well, why is he not just using propagation, discarding those because it's free?
Or you could just get rid of the Bridget so it doesn't get put back in with an N.
Yeah. You really want to thin your deck out of cards that you don't want to see later on with the Ace Trainers that Andrew's playing. He's playing like 6 or 7 copies basically, like 4N, 3 or 2 Ace Trainer kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean he's gonna be able to at least do work with it. We do see Andrew again drawing the 4 off the red card and just leaving him.
The red card was actually very smart from Isaiah because of the Ace Trainer in hand.
Yeah, he had to force it away.
Yeah. Because you can still draw back off of an end of 5.
Right.
Drawing back off an Ace Trainer to 3 with no abilities, it's a lot tougher to ask.
Yeah. Could still be in there though. Who knows?
Could be, yeah.
His play may not be scuppered after all. He hasn't even looked. He doesn't want to know. He doesn't want to think about the potential. Just being able to keep himself nice and relaxed and let the Skyfield come down from Isaiah actually. So.
And there's the Executor being evolved.
Cut my sentence a little bit short there. Even Andrew reaching over for a little bead of Executor. I think that's telling of how popular this card is. aka not very much.
You should have played 2 years ago when it was very popular.
Was it the big boy?
Those were not fun games to watch.
Well, there's no supporters being played.
Yeah. So, and you only do like 10 damage a turn.
Oof. Slow and steady.
Maybe a little bit more with laser, maybe a little bit more with muscle band, but that was it.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
It was pretty nice.
That's what you want. You want the slow and steady ones. Quaking punch and a hypnotoxic laser.
The one thing it had going for it is that it did a lot more damage to Seismitoad EX.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's definitely ways to stop your opponents playing cards. You have to wonder, is he going to go for it? The fact he's actually evolved it makes me think he is.
Yeah,
especially with the
why not also?
With the fear of the Ace Trainer. Yeah. That's what spooked him into it. He's so scared of this Ace Trainer. Ooh,
all right.
He's moving him so quickly.
Choice band. What's he draw? Field blower.
That's not what you want.
All right, there's the Brooklet Hill. That's one thing he needs.
Yeah.
And Isaiah does have to discard a card. Goes for the Shaman.
Right.
What is this hand, though?
He's going to touch the band. It's the end.
Okay.
See, if he'd have managed to get that blockade into play, he wouldn't have been able to end him.
Yeah, that is a good point. If Isaiah attacked with Executor last turn, Andrew would have just passed.
Yeah, I mean, there literally would have been nothing else he could do. He would have been...
But the pressure Isaiah would have put on him was, all right, I'll 4-hit your Frogadier. 4-hit.
I mean, I'm not saying it's the optimal play. I'm saying it's a play. Depending on how much you despise your opponent and how little fun you want them to have, I think that's how much you use Executor.
Why not just play Wailord at that point?
Oh, there are people playing Wailord.
Oh, I know. All right, so Andrew needs a lot off this N right now. He needs Greninjas, he needs energy, and I don't think he got any of it and just decided to pass.
There's an energy, but it's not really going to help him without the Greninjas.
Yeah, I actually think he just passed to Isaiah.
Yep, Isaiah drawing for turn, or trading as well, and it's just going to keep on going with that one.
I like free cards.
Who doesn't like free cards? I mean, even without the availability, it's going to be a problem. We do get to actually look at his hand.
Gets us 4-0.
2 Ns, a Tapu Lele, and another Brooklet Hill as well, so giving us an actual peek.
And to be fair, Andrew's still not out of it. He does play cards like Enhanced Hammer, has the attacks to shut off Isaiah's abilities, but he still needs to draw into everything.
Yep, I mean,
Splash Energy is a very important card that he needs to find as well.
Isaiah's just going to take another prize. He's really not too worried about it. Andrew, you know, he's going to have another chance to end.
Do you think, how much of a thought, like what percentage of a thought do you think was going through Isaiah's mind when he gets this, saw a hand full of supporters, thinking, could I afford to blockade right now?
What if we get this into the active and, I mean, it's definitely an option. When you look at it, you think, well, you've got 2 ends, 2 of your cards are, well, 3 of them are useless because you've got technically all of them. You've got Brooklet Hill, which is already in play. You've got 2 ends, which you wouldn't have been able to play after the blockade. And then even if you let him Tapu Lele, he wouldn't be able to use it. So, could have been a really dead turn if he'd have done it, but just trying to keep ahead in the prize race. I think with him being a game behind, he needs the win instead of just grinding it out.
Yeah. So here we see the Wonder Tag from the Tapu Lele, searching out that very important Ace Trainer, and then attaching the energy before playing it. And remember, he needs to get Greninja, preferably 2 this turn.
Yeah, that's gonna be what he needs. If he can get them. We do see the draws. Isaiah just with the 3. Looking longingly at that.
Oh, there's dive ball.
Wishing for more.
I wish you did more damage.
Should have gone for it. Should have stopped that. Now we got Ace Trainered. Look what you did. I mean, this really puts Andrew back in it. Being able to grab, you know, the Greninja, turn off those trades right after the Ace Trainer could be really nice.
But again, not getting the second one means if Isaiah has the perfect cards of Skyfield Pokemon, he could just take a knockout and set Andrew back a full turn.
Yeah, that would be a big deal if he could do that there. See a little more decision making from Andrew's side of the field, just having a little look around.
A third Zoroark coming into play, Choice Band, a card that is not very good in this match, and then a Colress for 9.
That's a large Colress.
It's a pretty large
basically
Colress.
Makes up for the fact that he's not able to trade this turn.
And like I said, that's what this deck tries to do, and I think that's why they bumped up the count to 3. His Dallas list only playing the 2, but feeling, man, this card's too powerful, especially in the Zoroark mirror, when we're going to have like 16 Pokemon in play.
Anywhere between 3 to 7, depending on how you use your VS Seekers at the time. That's to say you can have 7 of a card that lets you draw like double-digit numbers is ridiculous. I mean, even taking 9 without a Skyfield in play is a lot.
And the only reason you're taking 9 is because you have a Sudowoodo in play to limit your opponent's bench.
He's hurt himself there.
So there we see double puzzle, and this will get Isaiah exactly what he needs to take the knockout.
The Skyfield is the first one. It wouldn't shock me to see him take another VS Seeker, actually. Especially if you're Skyfielding. Oh, grabbing the other double colorless.
Yeah, remember that double colorless that got discarded from the early Enhanced Hammer?
Yep, needs it back. Just in case anything goes wrong. There's Skyfield.
But granted, does he have the Pokemon to place it on the bench? You would think he does.
He's got the eggs.
No, he doesn't. From Shadow Stitching.
Oh.
Yeah.
They're doomed. They're stuck.
It's looking like he might have Rescue Stretcher or Ultra Ball.
Maybe able to
Alright,
get it
Ultra
out.
Ball. Discards 2 cards. Gets that Zorua, so now he does have enough to take the knockout on the active Greninja. And this Greninja deck really struggles against Zoroark when you can't get your breaks in play.
He's just doing a quick count and declaring the attack for the knockout. I mean, that's it. That's Greninja gone now. He's stuck with a solid
and there's the break right off the top.
Ooh, that's not what you wanted to see. He's gonna Ultra Ball.
He actually discards the break for the Ultra Ball, eyeing up that Greninja, but he has 2 or 3 Frogadier in the discard. This might be his last hope for Greninja without a Super Rod.
Yeah, I mean, even then though, if he can get it into play, he's going to be stuck with just 1, essentially, on the go. He's going to be struggling to work around that, I'd say.
And here we go. The classic bubble from Froakie. And he's not turning his card. It is a Tails.
No win there. Gonna get hit by another big riotous beating.
So it'll be very important. I think Isaiah double puzzled for a Skyfield when he already had one in hand. From what I saw before, I couldn't really see, but if he's able to just get a Guzma and take a knockout on this Greninja that's on the bench, that has to be game.
Yeah, I mean, that's all he needs to do. We do see him get the blind, get that ready on the bench. Just in case he needs a backup attacker, but I honestly don't think he's going to need it in this one.
Oh, no.
He should be pretty set, I think, at this point. And
he also has Stand-In Zoroark and Floatstone in his hand.
Yeah, he can shuffle around if he needs to. There's Skyfield. There's Tapu Lele.
Not even opting for the Wonder Tag.
So far ahead at this point that he doesn't need to. Taking his time. He can get the eggs out this time. I misspoke in the previous turn. Forgetting, of course, they rely on an ability, not a magic rule bending situation where you can just haphazardly pull them out of your discard pile.
And there's the Verseeker for the Guzma. And if I was Andrew, I would honestly try to think about conceding here, especially knowing that these Greninja games tend to grind out a little bit long.
Yeah, you want some time for Game 3, so I'm a little bit curious as to why he's kind of
Hey, there's always the hope of just there's not enough time left and just bubble until you deck your opponent out. Bring Guzma up that standing Zoroark and bubble.
You
just
heard
keep
it here.
bubbling.
You heard it here first, ladies and gents. Just bubble your opponent to death. Jeremy Jalen, 2018.
Yeah. Lily drawing 5 cards, not seeing anything he wants, and Espeon was actually prized as well.
I mean, honestly, with that information, I think Andrew's probably happy that this one's done.
Oh, yeah.
Because, not that he didn't know it from his earlier searches, but that was kind of the play that won him the game in Game 1, so given that option...
It wasn't kinda, it was the play.
Yeah, I mean, there were other plays he could have made that may have won him the game also, but that was the play.
Yeah.
That it would have been nice to see.
Taking a knockout for 4 prizes and just...
It's not bad, it's alright.
It's not bad.
It's alright.
It's kind of what leads to the win.
Yeah, it's what Eevee does. Or Eevee Espeon. If Eevee did that, that'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, I was kind of joking around earlier before the tournament on Friday. I was like, you know, card's very good against this Zoroark, like 4-egg deck. Rule of Evil Weavile.
Oh yeah.
60 damage to everyone with abilities. So, you know, the one turn where they don't play Hex with 4 eggs out, which, you know, they never do because they always Hex execute. You can take a bunch of knockouts, but Espeon EX kind of does that better when you spread a bunch of damage.
Yeah, and you take them on Zaruas, which are a little bit more important. Because even though you're actually getting credit for the knockout that way, they're still in the discard. They can still come back.
Yeah, and they are setting up for Game 3. It's been 2 back-and-forth games. This game, Andrew kind of stumbled a little bit to get multiple Greninja in play.
Right.
And that's kind of Isaiah's opening, like, okay, well, I'll knock out this one. And then expect you just, Shadow Stitching again? All right, if I have another big Chorus, I can knock out again.
I think in Game 2 he was... going first definitely helped, but he's just been kind of ahead throughout, being able to just chill out and keep up that pressure, so...
And this is where Game 3 is going to be very important with Andrew going first. It means he's going to be instead of having 2 turns behind, he's going to be 1 turn behind. And
right.
That's very
Well,
huge.
we know he's not going to be able to do much turn 1.
Yeah.
You know, maybe get a Froakie in. We don't see Froakie to start, we just see...
The Staryu.
Staryu.
Yeah. And a computer search discarding a Greninja and a Water Energy.
Maybe his hand's full of great things.
By great things, I think you mean nothing.
Yeah, well, nothing that he wants to keep a hold of as he grabs Cynthia instead.
So this is very risky. Greninja, not a deck that plays a lot of basic Pokemon. I think it's 4 Froakie, 1 Staryu, 1 Espeon,
Tapu Lele,
and 1 Tapu Lele. That's not a lot of outs. Like, sure, you got like Ultra Ball, Dive Ball, Brooklet Hill.
Yeah, he needs to hit something of that nature off this Cynthia.
It's very important. Let's see, does he get it?
Brooklet
Hill. All right, and a Dive Ball. Okay, this is great because now he has 2 outs to Froakie. And that's what you want to see, especially against a deck as explosive as Zoroark.
Yeah, I mean, the Staryu's not really what you want to be leaving up in the active. He does have to be careful, though. You know, we talked about it in earlier games. If Staryu's there taking up bench space, then when the Sudowoodo comes into play, it's like 1 more space you can't water duplicates into.
Well, it'll be fine. This will be the game he prizes 1 Frogadier, and it wouldn't even matter.
Right, he has to prize it sometime.
And the Staryu does have free retreat, and retreats into that Froakie and passes.
Nothing else to really do, I think, with the Greninja decks turn 1.
Yeah, well, usually you just don't even play a supporter because you're afraid of drawing into Frogadier.
Right.
So you're like, as long as I get my Froakies in play, I'm loving life.
Yeah, you get 1 just in case something crazy happens, but you know, double up on him. Right, we do see the Battle Compressor again to start out for Isaiah. I think that's 3 in a row on turn 1, right?
I mean, you played 2. It's fine. You could find it enough.
But he always gets good value out of it. I mean, no reason not to. It gives him an opportunity to search. And
well, one thing we saw Finnegan do a lot with his turn 1 Battle Compressor is discard 2 eggs and a Chorus. It seems Isaiah's opting for the Bridget, maybe because he has Verse Seeker in hand, and he does.
Yep, there it is. It's exactly the same as last game. 2 Zorua and a Sudowoodo.
Yeah, the Sudowoodo is just strong enough in this matchup to where it actually matters.
Yeah, it's because bench space is such a premium. You really do need it. You want to be able to stream the Greninjas or Frogadiers into Greninjas, and you've just got to have full benches to do that.
All right, there we see the Frogadier and a Cynthia not having the water energy in his hand to use water duplicates just yet.
He can get away with hitting just one Frogadier off this because he's got the other Froakie to evolve, but beyond that, probably not what he wants.
Yeah, for sure. Also, he doesn't play that many water as well. I think only 10 total, including Splash Energy in his list.
If he could get a Splash Energy off this, that'd be really nice for him.
And he does. Wow. Things are looking up for Andrew. But again, this is all good and dandy. But last game, he couldn't get multiple Greninja in play. So it's all about next turn.
We do get to see if how many, if any, are prized, potentially. He's only going to be able to grab 2 because of the roadblock.
Isaiah does start off his turn by using Propagation. Most likely having an Ultra Ball in his hand. Or even better, just a computer search. And probably use it as an Ultra Ball to get a Zoroark.
Yeah, you may as well.
Oh no, he got a double colorless.
He already had the Zoroark.
Yeah, it's fine.
He's also got the stand-in Zoroark just waiting for him there.
I do like the stand-in just because it's a guaranteed 130 if your opponent has 4 bench.
Right, I mean...
So it'll get these 2 knockouts in a row. It'll be interesting to see if Andrew actually decides to commit the Froakie to the bench again after his Splash activates.
Right.
Putting the stand-in Zoroark back to 130 damage. And there we see the Wonder Tag for the Getsus. And we see red card Getsus again. This could be devastating for Andrew.
Yep, he had things kind of lined up and ready to go. You know, potentially with that, after that Cynthia. We didn't take a full look, but he had enough to kind of try and get through, so we'll see what comes up off this red card.
He's going to be looking at these 4 cards, I'll tell you that.
So's Isaiah. They're going to be taking a good old
Getsus.
There's the Ultra Ball.
That is it. To be fair, that Ultra Ball is what he needed. He will have to be forced to Cynthia this next turn.
Well, his search is completely ruined now because his Brooklet Hill's gone. You know, if he does lose something, obviously it will be going back to his hand with the Splash Energy. But, yeah, that's a bit of a problem.
Oh, he does draw a Greninja.
Right off the top.
And does opt to actually bench that Froakie as well.
Yeah, must be feeling pretty confident. Another Cynthia. It's, you know, just Andrew's go-to is just keep refreshing the hand.
Yeah, this is another card out of Ultra Prism that really helped Greninja is Cynthia. Just being able to conserve your resources in your hand and still draw a fresh 6 without relying so much on N. Because especially late game, when they usually play like 4 Sycamore, 4 N, now they're opting for like 4N, 4 Cynthia, and like maybe 2 Sycamore, if any at all.
Yeah, we're going to see another Greninja into play.
And Enhanced Hammer. All right, Enhanced Hammer is the one card he really wanted to see. Shadow Stitching as well. And remember, Isaiah had a computer search for that double colorless last turn. So it'll be interesting to see if he actually has it or has access to it.
Right, I mean, we see a Choice Band.
But again, Colress right after the turn was from Shadow Stitching.
It looked like it was going to be a good turn for Andrew to watch, you know.
Yeah.
No access to his trades, no access to any of that. But he's still able to go and grab a ton of cards with this Colress. Being able to just pull those out right now. He's going to be able to get, is that 8? It looks like 8. Yep, that's a discard pile. He's got to find a double colorless off it though. That's the really big thing here.
Yeah, and it looks like time is about to be called as well. And that means this will end in a tie. No prizes taken. And remember, like I said, this Greninja deck is a very grindy matchup for this Zoroark.
Yeah, I mean, the one prize taken on Isaiah's side, but he's not going to be able to churn through those prizes quickly enough.
No, especially missing the knockout off this Colors for 8 and allowing Andrew to actually get more set up. He has the option to draw into more like Greninja Break and actually get those in play as well.
Yeah, time was just called in the round. The players shaking hands. They know they're not going to be able to resolve this game, and we're going to have another tie between Andrew and Isaiah. Greninja and Zoroark, nothing able to separate them in this matchup.
Yeah, unfortunately for Andrew there, it kind of looked like he was starting to pull away from the game.